Hi friends, and welcome back to your 1930 skirt project. This is it. The last video, the last couple of steps, and we will be done with it. So today we're going to work on steps 24 through 27. So let's get started. Okay, so here we have our skirt piece here. This is the inside of the skirt. These are the pleat underlays in the front. And what we're going to do first is we're going to measure up from the bottom 2.5 inches, and we're going to make a snip in the seam allowance here so that we can break the seam. So I'm going to take my handy dandy ruler there, excuse my hand, and we're going to make a little snip in this fabric to help us find the hem. So I'm going to take my ruler, come over here, and I'm going from the shortest side because you can kind of see that I'm a little uneven down here, and that's okay. I'm just going to put my ruler at the shortest edge, and so I'm going to snip right here. So just like so. So I'm going to do that on all 4 sides of this. So I'm going to do this one over here and then on the other pleat as well. Okay, so you can see I've got my little snips here, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the iron and I'm going to press these guys open. We're going to leave this plain, we're not going to do anything to it, but the section below where we've clipped, we need to press it open. So you can see here I've got our lovely seam allowances pressed open here on all 4 places. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to fold up about 1/4 inch or so all the way around the entire skirt, and then we're going to fold it again so that it ends up right here. Does that make sense? I hope so. So we're going to do a quick little 1/4 inch fold, press that in, and then we're going to turn it up and press it up so that it ends up that your hump here butts up with the seam allowance there. Okay, so you can see I've folded up about 1/4 to 1/2 inch here all the way around, so it has a nice pretty edge. And now I'm going through and pressing it up, and you can see where I'm trying to get the hump here to butt with this lovely seam allowance there. Now you're going to notice that there's going to be a little bit of gappage because we're trying to put something larger, the hem of this, into something smaller, the skirt. You may have to take little tucks here and there, and that's fine. So it's not going to be a perfect flat hem. So it's going to have, you can kind of see here where I've got a little bump happening right there. You can kind of get over here and see it better. So we just need to get those in, pin, and then we're going to press down, and that way we can press those humps nice and flat. And then we're going to do a whip stitch. I'll be back in just a moment to show you this thing all nicely pressed. Alright, so you can see here I'm all pinned and pressed, and I'm ready to start whip stitching all of this down. You can see very clearly here what I was talking about those little bitty folds in the fabric, because we are putting something larger into something smaller, and it's just a very small little fold here. You know, they're not everywhere, but you can certainly see them. They're not there. So there's another one here and there. You're going to see them mainly in the area in the pleat because it's a nice and rounded shape down here at the bottom, and wherever you really see any kind of roundness. So you won't see very many at the center back and on the back panel, but here in the front and along the sides where the pleats are, you'll see a lot more of these little bumps. All right, now it's time to whip stitch this down, and we're gonna just go ahead and whip it real good. I have whip stitched all the way around. You can see I've got some nice tiny prick stitches on this side, and so we're all finished. And so this completes step number 25. Step number 26 is we're going to go where we folded up our seam allowance here, and we have our clip seam, and what we need to do is we need to fold this in half, press it nice and hard so we get our pleat back in order, and then what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to put a very tight running stitch right along the edge here. And what that's going to do is going to help hold this pleat in place so it doesn't fall out and you don't have to continue to iron it every single time. So I'm going to go to the iron and press this, and I will be back once I have finished doing this lovely little stitch. Alright, so you can see here I've got this lovely pleat folded back, and I've done a little stitch here to help hold it back. I've done the same thing here and the same thing over on these other two sides as well. So at this point, this completes step number 26. Okay, for the final step, we're going to be working with our lovely buttons that we have. And what we're going to do is, unfortunately, it's not marked on the pattern, and I didn't mark it on yours because it wasn't marked on mine. So what we're going to do is we're going to put them in places. And so how we're going to do that is we're going to line up our placement for our buttons up here on our yoke with the seams, these front seams here. So what I want you to do is we're going to put our ruler in line with our seam line here, and we're going to go straight up. Now we're going to put this button 1.5 inches down from the waist. So if the waistline is here, we're going to go down 1.5 inches, and we're going to put our button right there. So what I'm going to do first to make this a lot easier for myself, I'm going to get a pencil and I'm going to mark where that is. So that is right here. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing over here on the other side, line it up and make my mark again. So now I know exactly where these buttons are going to go, and you can see them. There's my mark here, and then again here. So let's stitch these bad babies on. These are non-functioning buttons, so we don't necessarily have to put them on the tightest they can possibly go, because we also don't want to scrunch up this area. So we want to put them on flat, and let's get to it. Okay, so my buttons are all attached. Now, one thing when you are stitching on these buttons, we want to make sure that we can't see our stitching on the back side. We don't want to see our stitching through all of these layers. We only want it to be just through this top layer of the yoke. So, with that, dun 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 dun, it's finished. I'm going to go put it on a form so we can look at it. All right, friends, here she is. It's all done. Got our lovely buttons happening up here. It's all lovely finished on the inside. Ooh, and look at our lovely pleats down here at the bottom, and our hem. It looks so good. You can see the back side of her as well. Yeah. So this lovely project is finished. Alright friends, thus completes the 1930 skirt project. Amazing! I'm so glad we're finished. I'm so glad to have it. It's done. We don't have to look at it anymore. Well, it's been great to have this project with you. I hope to see you all again soon. Please stay safe, stay inside, wash your hands, and I'll see you soon.